Good evening, lovely spirits. I greet in the sign of the rising sun. It's the wise servant of the life, Mr. Solace, Pasampaset, peace and wisdom. Now, this evening, I want to do this video discussing a few questions that were asked to me. One of them being, why is it bad to ejaculate? Is being gay really a bad thing? Why do we need morality and control over our physical desires? Is time an illusion? And are we all born with a purpose? So I want to discuss those questions in this video. But before I begin, I want to say this to you guys. Man owns nothing in this life. I need y'all to grasp this. Man owns nothing, but we tend to perceive it as if everything in life is ours. It's a deep thing I want you guys to grasp. Man owns nothing. Man doesn't even own his own body. You did not create your body. All the materials that your body consists of. You had nothing to do with your body being created. You are nothing more than the energy that was placed in it, pulling in conscious. But it's a deep thing. Your body is not yours. When you pass, you don't take it with you. It returns back to the life. So it's a deep thing I want you guys to grasp. You don't even own your body. But our mentality is that we own everything. Your home. You do not own the wood and stone that your home was built out of. You do not own the land that the home is on. Now, yeah, you purchased it, and you may have the deed to it, but you do not own the wood. You did not create the wood. You did not create the stone. The most man does is recreate. It's a deep thing I want y'all to grasp. You procreate, meaning you have children, and we say, man, I made you, but you didn't make the materials that make bodies. It had nothing really to do with your own body. It's a deep thing. Even our thoughts. You did not create conscious. You pull in from the same conscious that everyone pulls in from. Now, you pull out of the conscious what you choose to, depending on your understanding. Most people just pull from the physical conscious that's around them. So it's a very deep thing I want you guys to grasp. You have conscious, and we all pull from the conscious, sort of like the web, and everyone logs online, and everyone's pulling whatever they choose to tap into online. Well, conscious is the same. There's conscious, and we all pull from that conscious whatever we choose to. Now, most people have no understanding of life or conscious. So most people are subjected to pull from other physical beings around them instead of the source. So most people pull from the thoughts of other people here, whether they're alive or dead. Y'all pull from books. These are the thoughts of those who passed. Some may be alive. You believe in religion or this thing or that thing, and these are others' thoughts. Physical men that were here or still are. You pull from the thoughts of your friends and ideas you hear that you may like. But my point is this: most people, they pull from the physical conscious. They don't pull from the source. So it's a deep thing. You have a source of conscious. And we all pull from that source, or we all can. Just like online. So we can all pull from this conscious, but what happens is I'll pull from the conscious, and then you guys will pull from my conscious, getting the source's information secondhand. And then this person will repeat what I say, and another may hear it from them. So this is how we do in the life. Someone with the higher conscious understands the all conscious, and they tap directly into that the way I do. And then, others will pull from their thoughts, and others will pull from the thoughts of those that pulled from them. And it becomes a deep, weird thing where you have most people are not pulling from the source. So when you come to today times, even with the books, most people have not read the Enuma Elish, but those that say they're familiar with it, they've read the Chariot of the Gods. Most people don't even know the difference. So it's a deep thing I want you to grasp. Most people that say, oh, I'm familiar with the Book of the Dead. Well, they've never read the Book of the Dead, but they've read what brothers in today times have to say about the Book of the Dead. So we don't go to the source, even with the physical. So it's a deep thing I want you to grasp, but it all plays out into the life. See, animals taught men in their beginnings, and this is a universal fact. So I don't want you to get lost. Animals taught men. Men start off, they don't know nothing. So just like you were born as a baby, and you didn't know absolutely nothing, but your mother and father was there to kind of groom you in. If they had a house pet, you learn from that, and so on and so forth. But when a baby is born, it knows absolutely nothing as far as physical go. You know how to walk, anything. And this is the nature of men in their beginnings as a whole. In wisdom, In man's early beginnings, man didn't know anything. Before man had nationality and race, shit, man didn't even know what species he was a part of. One man say, man, I think I'm a wolf. And he go dwell with the wolves. Another man say, man, I think I'm a raccoon. And he go deal with the raccoon. The next man say, man, I think I'm a bear. And this was man's beginnings before nationality and race. They all banded to the animals, and they learned that way. And when they came back together eventually, they all had an abundance of knowledge to spread amongst one another. Because each animal lives different, but it's a deep thing. You have many different animals in this life. And they all have an aspect of the life, the way they live. So if you can grasp the animals, you can kind of learn in abundance, like building homes from the birds. So you can kind of learn every aspect of life that we have and how we live. Well, it comes from the animals. Even agriculture. We learned this from the animals. Building homes, we learned this from the animals. How to move in unity, we learned this from the animals. Ants, other animals like the wolf. If you get deeper like into war, we learn war and things like this from the wolf. And the way they align themselves, and the old in the front and the fast behind them, and the wolf has its way that it moves, the leader of the pack is in the back. And this is just to make sure no one gets left behind. So wolves move a certain way. They keep the weak in the front. And in today times, we'll view that and say, put the weak in the front so they could die first. Put the pawns in the front. But the wolf's knowledge is deep. See, the wolf when you're dealing with the wolves, it's all family. A wolf ain't got no strangers in the pack. So you can forget that shit. It's all family. So when you dealing with the wolves, they put the weak in the front, not because they want them to die first, but because the wolves want to make sure they don't get left behind. If we get attacked and we got to flee, we need the weak in the front, just in case we got to push their ass. But we ain't leaving nobody behind. So it's a cold-blooded, deep thing. And, it even goes deeper, because worst case scenario, the alpha wolf can always break out. So there's a flip side to the coin, but we learn many things from the wolves. And this is why, when you deal with like the indigenous people of land before they are civilized and their forest is turned into a city, when you deal with these people, their nationalities are that. This is why when you dealt with the natives and they first came here, the natives were all a part of a clan, an animal tribe. Bear clan, wolf clan, coon clan, that's raccoon clan, etc., etc. This is why you have that. Even in Africa, before they civilized them out, they're all a part of. And this is why, because this traces back to man's beginnings, before he even knew, like, I'm a man. Before men labeled themselves as men, they were a part of the animal family. Before they got their own individuality and said, you know what? Let's be men. Instead of you a wolf and you a bear, and how we just pick of what's already here to be a part of. How about we be our own? So this is how that happens. And this will eventually happen with the black race. We all run around pulling for the African line and the Native American line, and you got some black people, they think they white, and so it's a deep thing. But black people will eventually do it. All aspects of the life play out in all aspects of the life. So this all traces back to man's beginnings, when he thought he was a wolf and a bear. And like I said, men learn many things from the animals. But the problem is, like I said, man was born knowing nothing. But this is good because man has the opportunity to fill himself up with the most things. See, some aspects of the life is placed on the animal, but there's nothing placed on us. We can choose and fill ourselves up with as many aspects and as much information as we choose. So it's a deep thing with man. Man started off not knowing nothing, so everything a man knows, you always have to remember that. Man knew nothing. So man's whole purpose is to learn and to come back and teach. So man learned from the animals. He raised himself up. And he has the capacity to be wiser than the animals that he learned from. Just like a boy has the capacity to be wiser than his father. And so on and so forth. Now, when man learned what they learned from the animals, they separated themselves from the animals. They began to oppress the animals, as opposed to repaying the favor. So it's a deep thing I want you to grasp. Now, when you say repay the favor, you like, what you mean? Man was supposed to come back and teach animals. Well, some animals eat vegetation, and some animals eat meat. And this is how man learned his diet, because man didn't even know what to eat. Man eat poison and die, and that's how the rest of them learn and say, oh shit, don't eat that. So man didn't even know what to eat. But man watched the animals, like I said, and he sees some of the animals, they eat vegetation. He sees some of the animals, they eat meat. Now he see the animals that eat meat, they're more beastly in their nature. When you look at the animals that eat vegetation, he noticed they're not as beastly in their nature. Actually, they're meek and humbled. They're non-resistant. When a gazelle is being killed by a lion, they don't fight back. They try to flee. If they don't succeed at fleeing, then they just die and get killed. But they're non-resistant. So it's a deep thing, and man learning from animals, that's the first thing he learned. Because man got to eat. So, well, he thinks he does. So this is the first things he tries to learn, everything that has to do with sustaining himself, his belly. And he noticed with the animals, some of them eat vegetation and they're more meek and humbled. And then you have the ones that eat meat and they're more beastly in their nature. Now, what's the point? The point is this. In man observing that, being as though he has the capacity to be wiser than the animals, see, those aspects of the life was just placed on animals. You eat this and you eat that. And all of this is for man to grasp. The empty one that has no knowledge, but he has the capacity to know everything. So you eat this, you eat that, and man will sort that out and let y'all know what y'all truly supposed to do. So this is the wisdom of the life. Life say put man there, let him don't know nothing. That way he can build himself up and be wiser than them all and fix and sort everything the way it needs to be. But what man does is this. Man gets the animals and he teaches them how to juggle and ride bicycles in the circus. I seen an elephant ride a bicycle. So it's a deep thing. Man doesn't go to the jungle to the animals that raised him up and say, let me raise y'all up and show y'all, y'all don't need to fight one another. It's a simple thing. We're going to all work together. And teach the lion to lay with the lamb. Man didn't do that. Now, don't get lost and say lions don't lay with lambs. I seen an elephant ride a bicycle. If a man could teach an elephant to ride a bicycle, and a man could teach a lion to ride a bicycle too, because I seen a lion ride a tricycle at the circus. So, if man could teach them that, I'm sure they can teach them the proper way to eat, or at least the proper way to not be beastly. Because diet all has to do with the nature. We get lost in the physical. We say, oh, you're supposed to eat this because that's why. But this is deeper than what you eat. This has to do with the nature. See, in today's times, a vegan or a meat eater, they both use a fork and a knife. The nature's what it is. So grasp. The whole point of that is lost now. So the whole purposes of these things is like, forget it now. The purpose of it, y'all have gone completely past that. So it's a deep thing I want you guys to grasp, but that has nothing to do with diet. What it has to do with is man. Man can come back and fix every aspect of the life and make it perfect because he can balance and weigh a matter out the way the animals can. They teach man what they already got bestowed on them from the life. But it's my point, man. Man is how it is. Man got this good and bad thing. And this is where the problem lies, because you have men that are good, and you have men that are bad, but they think they're good too. You have men that are good, but they're bad, but they think they're good. And good is a perspective thing. This is why it's not good to do good, but you got to understand all is transcending. The day goes from night to dark, transcending. Good man goes bad, a bad man goes good. And it's not good to do good unless you understand that all is transcending. Then you understand, You do a good deed, but it does a bad thing. So a lot of times we do this. We do good things, but they end up becoming bad things. You need an example? A man takes care of a man or a woman. So therefore, this person never takes care of themselves. It's a good deed, but where does it lead? So it's a deep thing you have to grasp. It's not what you do, but it's what comes of it. Where does it lead? I don't feed the homeless. And then, a year later, the homeless still homeless. You like, why? It's a deep thing because of the help. That's not to say don't help, but that's to say grasp what help truly is in totality. Lest you do a half of a good thing that becomes a bad thing because it didn't have no foundation under it. Man is homeless, so you feed him, but he's still homeless. So he stays that way. And you feeding him gives him a sense of comfort in his homelessness to where he just stays that way. So you help him stay low, even though you're doing a good thing. But it's not being done fully, where you're fully focusing on who you're helping, to where you like, I'm gonna give him enough to get up, to get more for himself, and really help a person and guide them to their better. We don't do this. We give charity just enough to say, I did my part. So charity is just for that, to say, look what I've done. So it's a deep thing. Most people file their charity on their taxes, but that's a whole nother story. Now, I want to get into this video. I'm sorry I spoke for 20 minutes straight, but you got to get things situated in this life. So why balancing things like this is very important. Now, why is it bad to ejaculate? For the people out there that have a very little vocabulary, ejaculate means like, you know, what brothers in the hood say, busting a nut. Coming. So why is it bad to ejaculate? I'm going to make this as simple and short as I possibly can. Every 3.5 days, the cells in your body, let's say the dead cells in your body, the cells in your body, when they die, they become sperm cells or spirits. Because I say the sperm is the spirit, so you have to grasp. The microorganisms within your body, they have spirits within them. And when they die, because cells die, you know, the spirit leaves. It becomes sperm cells within a man. So it's a very deep thing I want you guys to grasp. Now, every 3.5 days, if a man doesn't ejaculate, every 3.5 days, these spirits, you can say, are these sperm cells that are built up, rises back up. Or not back up, but they rise up the spine to the throne of God, which is, you know, the thalamus. And, you know, what's within the thalamus, which is basically the 2 olive branches, or the slain lamb of God, the sacrificial lamb. Let me show you. Yeah, when you're, as you all know, should know, this is the thalamus within the center of the brain. Now, this is everything that's within the thalamus. And if you look closely, you can see the slain lamb with the broken horn right there. I'm sorry. One horn. That's the broken horn because the poor lamb is slain. That's the little lammy ears. And that's the goatee of the lamb. Maybe I could have got a better image, but within the thalamus you have the 2 olive branches, or the slain lamb of God. And the thalamus is the throne of God. And, you know, that's just a real image. You know, there's your 2 olive branches. But it's a deep thing, you know. Every 3.5 days, the sperm cells within a man, if he doesn't ejaculate, they rise back up his spine and they go into the thalamus. Basically to be one with God. It's a deep, cold-blooded thing. This is what the Bible and things like that is talking about. But, you know, if a man ejaculates, then, you know, they're pushed out into hell, which is the womb of a woman, or the womb that we live in. You know, at least if it goes into the womb of a woman, it got the chance. Well, I don't want to say it got a chance because, you know, it's a deep thing. But, you know, the sperm cells go into the womb, and then, you know, the one with the keys to the bottomless pit goes right on in. Does what he does. So it's a deep thing you have to grasp. But in a nutshell, if you're a man, when you ejaculate, You push spirits out into the life. You know, sperm cells get eggs. The sperm is the spirit. The egg is the body. The egg is the hell. It's a deep, cold-blooded thing. So when you ejaculate, you push your sperms out into hell. Or, if you don't ejaculate, you'll bring them back up to your thalamus, or the throne of God, every 3.5 days. It'll go back up to your throne. So it's a deep thing you have to grasp, you know. Imagine a man never has sex or never ejaculates. All those cells within his body, the microorganisms, when they die, all of their spirits, or the energy within them, will go back to his throne. So it's a deep thing y'all have to grasp. Most men ejaculate. So they push the spirits out into hell, as opposed to letting all the spirits, which is the micro life within them, ascend back to their spirit, which is within the thalamus, that first spirit or sperm cell that got the egg. So that's what this is all about, you know. You're a universe. You got microorganisms or cells within you that you brought into hell with yourself, or that was pushed out into hell with you. And it's a deep thing, you know. When you pass on and the sperm cell of the spirit is free, you can have all those sperm cells of spirits with you. That's what the resurrection and all of that, that's what that means, you know. You got millions and billions of cells within you, microorganisms. You can resurrect them, you know. When you don't ejaculate, you resurrecting and ascending spirits up into heaven, to the throne, the thalamus. So it's a deep, cold-blooded thing, but the more wisdom you have, the more you grasp. So it's a deep thing. Now I want to get into the next question. Is being gay, let me make sure I got everything out as far as why it's bad to ejaculate. Because I know y'all like this kind of stuff. Oh, you know, like in the Bible when it speaks of the olive branch and the tree of life, and it is just speaking of the brain. This all has to do with the brain. So, you know, this is the tree of life that leads to God, or the throne of God, or the thalamus. So it's a deep thing, you know. In ancient times, men would eat. What is it called? Cerebellum. Back in the day, cerebellum was a cuisine. And man eat that, think he lived forever. But it wasn't that. It was something else. But it's a deep, cold-blooded thing. When men be desperate, you know, they do anything. And so when you hear like the tree of life in the Bible and all these types of things, you just have to grasp. That's the tree of life, the cerebellum. The throne of God is the thalamus. And the poor little slain lamb is within the thalamus. And it's a deep, cold-blooded thing. I had another image here I wanted to show you guys, but I seem to have lost it or misplaced it. But yeah, it was a really good image, you know, I wanted to show you guys. But whatever. Now, let's get into this next question. Is being gay really a bad thing? To be gay is to say that life does not know what it's doing. To be gay is to say that the creator is stupid as fuck and makes mistakes. So to be gay is truly in its core just a disrespectful thing as far as the life goes. Because, you know, the life don't make mistakes. You know, everything is for what it is. You know, everything has its duty, so to say. So it's a deep thing. Is being gay really a bad thing? It's disrespectful to the life. It's like sinning against the creator. And tell the creator, man, you don't know what you're doing, in a sense. But it's a deep thing. This is what those physical desires, this is what all that is, you know. A gay man will still justify and say, no, 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 that's not what I'm saying. But in all reality, that's what it is. The life made you a man, so be what you are. And it's a deep thing, but what is gay? Because many people are lost on that. Person that say, man, being gay ain't, it's just my individuality and me being how I feel comfortable. But we have to understand being gay is more than that. So Prince was an individual, and Prince chose to dress like a woman. But he was still a man, but he chose to dress like a woman. Now, gay is more than that. See, gay is a sexual act. So we have to be clear. When people are gay, it has to do with the sexual act. It doesn't have to do with, I'm a man, but I like women's clothing. It has to do with more than that. It has to do with wanting to date a man and have sexual relations with a man. So it's a deep thing. If you remove sex out of the equation, then a homosexual man would just be an individual. He'd just be a guy that likes to act like a girl. But there would be no gay or anything attached to it. It would just be, he's just a weird guy like Prince. You see a girl that likes to be like a boy. You'd be like, she a tomboy. So this is why when you're dealing with younger children, if a girl, meaning a younger girl, acts like a boy, you don't necessarily say, oh, she's gay, because there's no sexual relationships attached to her actions at this point. She just like to be like a boy. She's her own individual. So this is my point. Once sex becomes involved, then it becomes, more than just, I'm being an individual, but it's a perverse thing. It has to do with sex. So it's a deep thing. There's no justifications with the wise servant. Things are what they are. People gonna do what they do. So, everybody gonna indulge in whatever sins they choose. When I say sins, I don't want you to get lost into biblical things, but I just speak in the rhetoric that y'all familiar with. And I teach you from the things y'all familiar with. But it's not to say that, that is the source of wisdom. That is just what you're familiar with. But what is gay? Sex stuff. Other than that, a gay woman's just a tomboy, and a gay man's just a softy. Yes, he a soft boy. Pretty boy. But gay and all that comes in later. So when you're dealing with kids, no one's gay, but either a tomboy or a pretty boy. So it's a deep thing I want you guys to grasp. Now, why do we need morality and self-control? Now, why do we need morality and control over our physical desires? Why is this important? And it's a very deep thing y'all have to grasp. Now, the Bible says, oh, you do this so you can go to heaven. But this is just religious talk, for those without the capacity to grasp true wisdom, true purpose of life, things like this. But it's a deep thing I want you to grasp. The reason we need morality and we need to try to control our physical desires before we pass this physical aspect of the life. The reason that is important is because you attract the energy that you are. You pull from what's liking to you. So just imagine in this physical world, your actions, the way you carry yourself, these things attract certain people to you. So if you're a drug dealer, you attract other drug dealers, and you attract gangbangers and jack boys, and you attract many different aspects of that life. You attract the gold diggers and the loose straws chicks, and you just attract everything that comes with that energy. And these energies are people. So you have to grasp. People are energies. So you attract all these different aspects physically. Now this is just in the physical. You think how you think, and so you attract like-minded thinkers. You act the way you act, you attract like-minded people. And this is all energy that they bring with them. And you attract it to yourself. Now that's a physical aspect. Now there's an aspect of life that men in the physical seem not to be able to grasp, and this is the spirits of the dead, which is energy. So you have men in bodies, which is spirits or energy in bodies. And then when men pass, their bodies, go to the ground, but the energy remains, or the spirit. And it's a deep thing, because the same way you attract physical people and like-minded thinking people, so is the same spiritually. So there's an aspect that's not seen that's happening the same way as it's happening in the physical. And the unphysical aspect that's happening around you has more of a control. So it's a deep thing, the same way, you pull in and attract certain people, so you pull in and attract certain spirits. And we all walk around with, spirits that are attracted to us. It's a deep thing you have to grasp. It's a deep thing. This is all energy. This all has to boil down to energy, but men seem not to grasp that. But when you don't have morality, you attract those that don't have it as well, physically, and that aspect that y'all don't see, that y'all call the unphysical or the spiritual. We view this as a different realm of life, but it's right here with us. You just behind the veil, which is the flesh. But once the veil is removed, so one can see his reality in complete, in totality. But it's a deep thing. You have no morals, you attract those that have no morals, physically as well as spiritually. So it's a deep thing. It's the same as your physical desires. If you like drinking, you attract others that drink, but you also attract the spirits of the dead that drunk, that are still trying to indulge. So it's a deep thing. The same way you're indulging in the life, we look at, it's the whole religious thing. It has y'all thinking that death is something different and you're going somewhere and you continue to live and grasp, if you can, what life is, which is dark energy and light energy. You keep getting lost in the dark energy, but it's a deep thing. All is transcending, so nothing is a trap or nothing is a dead end, but it's just a deep thing, Could be on the street for a long time, but we attract those energies. If you one that like to indulge into sex a lot, well, you will attract others that are like that, and you will attract spirits that are like that. And these spirits will weigh on you. This is why man has the complications in life that they have. Too much negative energies, spirits weighing on them. And it all boils to conscious. Like I said, we all pull from conscious, and it's a deep thing. Men pull for what they pull for in ignorance, so they don't even realize. Like, men get oppressed and they pull for it. They wake up, they go to work, and they do everything that the system requires them to do. And this is what keeps the system strong. The people doing what the system tells them to, and it's deep, because this is my point. We pull in all the negativity that go with that. So it's a deep, cold-blooded thing, but men just have to grasp. This is why, when you have sex, like I said, a man likes to indulge in sex, and he attracts these kind of energies, whether physical or unphysical. And then you have STDs, and you have so many different aspects that are pulled in. When you pull for these certain things that have no morality attached to them. So, when you have sex, it's deep because you lower the grade of your spirit. When a man and woman has sex, their spirits, you know, are interacting, so to say. It's a deep thing. It's just like the Native Americans and the Caucasians that came here. The Caucasians had a different grade of spirit, their morality, their values. It was different. They eat raw meat. Their ancestors were cannibals. Not to say that black people didn't have that within their line as well, but we talking about the Native Americans at that time when the Caucasians first came. The grade of spirit was different. The natives had a different grade of spirit. They weren't overpopulating and things like this, meaning having a bunch of sex where you have a bunch of kids and everything was in order. They were one with the life. The grade of their spirit was high. So this is why when you hear Native American writings and things like this, or you may hear them speak, or in rendition of them speaking, they always sound wise. You like, damn, they speak so wisely. And this is why the grade of the spirit of the people was high. Wisdom, honor, certain things was, this is what was pushed out. So the grade of their spirit as a whole was just higher, Wisdom was one of the most important things, in their culture. In our culture, entertainment is. So entertaining yourself is like, the heights of things. The more you can entertain people and get a following, this is the heights of things. But for them people, it was different. Wisdom was all. The wiser you could be, this was the equivalent of being the biggest entertainer. So it's a deep thing, not to say that they pulled for that, meaning idolization, because that's all entertainment leads to. People idolizing people. Worshipping them in a sense. So it's a deep thing, but when the Native Americans begin to mix breed with the Caucasians, over time it began to drop the grade of their spirit to where the Native Americans had the same kind of spirit as the Caucasians over time, kind of tarnished their spirit, brought the grade of their spirit down. So the descendants of the natives, year after year, the grade of the spirit begin to go down and down and down, and till you get to the times now where you have absolutely no morality or self-control. So it's a very deep thing I want you guys to grasp. Life is not just a little simple thing, but it's not complex. But, it's a journey. Men got to begin to grasp. Men got to begin to walk their journey. As of now, people are just living others' journeys and others' desires. And, you live in the city. This is another man's idea for himself. And you're just a part of his idea. It's deep. But, we have to get wise, Now, I want to get into this next question. Is time an illusion? Is time an illusion? The first thing I want to let you guys know, before you get lost into that kind of talk, like time is an illusion or time isn't an illusion, I want you guys to grasp that there's no such thing as an illusion. That in itself makes absolutely no sense. And we have to begin to grasp things like this. An illusion is, to see a thing that's not really there, but what have you seen that's not real? Say, I seen a ghost. What are you talking? This is my point. Any illusion is a real thing. So a man say, man, I had an illusion that I seen this. But whatever he says he's seen is something that's real. So he like, it's deep. It's like, There's no such thing as an illusion. This is a man-made concept because he don't grasp. He don't even grasp things that he see. So how he gonna grasp things that he he see, but he like, nah, it's an illusion. So it's a deep thing when man when man see things he don't think he's supposed to, he like, nah, that was an illusion. When a man is high on drugs and he sees things, we say, man, he was hallucinating. He was seeing illusions. It wasn't real. But he seen them. So if he really didn't see them and he's just saying this, then that would be what it would be. But if he sees the thing, he can't be like, it's an illusion. So this is what I mean. Illusion is not real. That's just a man-made concept. We got so many man-made concepts that make absolutely no sense, but it's deep. So then you have, yo, man, time is an illusion. But how can anything be an illusion? That's like saying you're an illusion. Yet we all see you. Time is passing as I'm doing this video. So when a person be like, man, time is an illusion, it's deep. An illusion ain't. What's an illusion? Something you can't see. Okay. But that don't make it an illusion. That just means you can't see it. Or you seen something that you feel like, oh, I wasn't supposed to. So it's a deep thing I want y'all to grasp. They say time is an illusion, like it's not real, but we just perceive it as to be real. But in all reality, an illusion ain't real, and we just perceive or got this concept of illusions. You are time. You are life. Grasp. I'm time. Your time. The other guy, he's time. Everyone's time, and in a whole, this is how you have an infinite amount of time. This is how life is infinite and vast, because everyone is their piece of it. And you have babies being born, they're their time. Their new time. In another aspect of life. So life is expanding, and all aspects of life are time. So I don't want you to view time as separate from yourself. You view yourself as in time. No. You can view it as reverse. Time is in you. You are time. Grasp. When you go to sleep don't necessarily mean I'm going to sleep. And when you sleep, time seems to stand still. So you have to grasp. You're on your own time. You are time. You're your own time. And you flow simultaneously with me. But if you kill every living thing in the life, it won't be no time. Won't be no life. It'll just be the all, the start. So it's a deep thing y'all have to grasp. We have topics that make no sense. Is time an illusion? An illusion is an illusion. It's a deep thing. But I want to answer this last question before I end this video. Are we all born with a purpose? And I know many people say, man, everyone's born with a purpose. You have to fulfill your purpose. But it's a deep thing. That's another man-made concept, Everyone's in existence by chance. You have no purpose. Grasp. A lot of y'all have children. And a lot of y'all had these children for no reason. It had to do with your sexual, physical desires that led to the kid. And some people got kids because they just want them. Nobody has kids because, oh, my kid's going to be the savior of life. I know this, so that's why I had. So this is my point. People just have kids. So when I say no one has no purpose, you were just born by chance, I want you to fix, I want you to literally grasp what I just said. You got kids. What was the purpose that you had them for so that they could fulfill that purpose? And this is my point. If we go by that, a lot of these kids would be prostitutes. And, lost people in the life, which they are. And this is why. So it's a deep thing you have to grasp. A woman is a prostitute, so she has a baby, and she's like, this baby has a purpose that he has to fulfill, or she. And it's like, you had the purpose you had the baby was because you was a whore. So it's deep. Y'all have to grasp. We don't have purposes. But that doesn't mean you can't pick up a purpose and fulfill it. So it's a deep thing you have to grasp. A man born with a purpose is nothing in comparison to a man who is not born with a purpose, but he decides on his own accord. You know what? I'm going to fulfill a duty. So you have to grasp. I wasn't born to teach the world things, but it's just a purpose I chose to do. I choose to fulfill this purpose of making people grasp for the purposes of the life, so the life could be balanced back out. People can be equal, truly, having access to everything equally, and we can be just like the animals. Because, like I said, you don't see male lions walking around the jungle with crowns on their heads. And all the animals in the wilderness all have the same coat according to their kind. All the wolves got the same coat. All the lions got the same coat. All the tigers got the same coat. You may have a different color, but they got the same coat, the same fur coat that they die for. So I want you to grasp. They don't raise themselves above each other. They live in their order. And it's that simple. And man can come along and raise them up more. But in the meanwhile, it's a deep thing. Man ain't born with no purpose, but there's many purposes that do need to be filled. So you have to grasp. You say, well, if man ain't born with no purpose, then how do you even got purpose? Purpose is always going to be. But that don't mean you was born with it. So grasp. It's a simple thing. You say, I was born with a purpose. The purpose of you being born is whatever your parents had you for. So when anyone tells you I have a purpose to fulfill, it better go back to their parents. And their parents saying, I came together with this person and we had a child because we had this thing we had to fulfill, and the child has to fulfill this. If your parents are not telling you things like this, and you was just one of their kids that was born, then you have to grasp you have no purpose. But you can adopt one. Purposes is like children without parents. It's a bunch of purpose that need fulfilling. Go pick up a purpose. It's a deep thing. I'm a little different, My mother told me this already. So my whole family already said I was going to be special. Pretty much what I'm doing now, along the guidelines of this. So, this was already prophesied through the family when I was young. I've been hearing this since I was young. Then, when I got lost in selling dope and shit, I ain't heard that shit. Nobody talked about that anymore. But if the family watching right now, they like, yeah, we did used to say he was going to be special because he used to always have those dreams about the devil or this dragon that was going to kill him, and he was just weird as fuck. So, this is where they got the ideas like, oh man, you're going to be special. You got some purposes to fulfill, and so maybe I was born with a purpose. I'm not sure. But in any event, men are not born with purposes, but men just fulfill purposes. Like I said, purposes is like children without parents, orphans. You just need to be fulfilled. So it's a deep thing. No one's born with a purpose, you know. The purpose I'm fulfilling, someone else could have chose to fulfill it if I wasn't up for the task. So all my family's prophesying about me doing what I'm doing, it don't mean nothing. It don't mean I would have necessarily need to do it. I could have chose otherwise. Somebody else may have said, I'm going to fulfill that purpose, and they may be in low spirit and they do something else with the whole purpose, making the purpose pointless. But this is just life. So you just have to have an understanding of things, you know. Whatever purpose you choose to fulfill, make sure you have an abundance of understanding. Not knowledge, but understanding. So that you know what you're doing. Because it's like I said, everything's transcending. So you can do a good thing, but that don't mean that it's going to transcend into that. You do good, and bad might come of it. So it's a deep thing, but wisdom is patience. You know, men want to rush. Solid society, I'm initiating people. Many people are reaching out. And I know at least 50% of the people reaching out, they think they're going to get wise in like 2 days. And it's a deep, funny thing to me. They don't understand it's a process that never ends. I get wisdom every day. I'm a student in wisdom. Grasp. It's a deep thing. I'm just smarter than y'all. So, but I never lose perspective. I can learn forever. New things. It's deep. New things that are the same thing, but it's like I said, all is one thing. Pushed out into many different aspects, in different renditions, but it's all the same. And that's what I mean when I say I just learn new things forever. Babies are being born. It's a new aspect of the life. Same old shit, but hey, he'll do what he do. He'll add what he add. It'll be the same as old, but it'll be its new way. But this is what I mean. Y'all, I don't know how to... It's just a deep thing. Sometimes I wonder if it's better if I don't even teach, because my mind is too... It's a deep thing. It might not even be doing any good. You know? It's making a lot of people envious spirits. Because no one can challenge me. You know, this is like the clearest thing in life. But, you know, people have envious spirits and egos and all type of things that, it's deep. This is why I start the little solid society and just deal with a small group. Build up a lovely community, and we just live in the way that we supposed to. When I say supposed to, I mean, you know, no city, no rulers and all that weird shit, but just one with the life the right way. So it's a deep thing. We get lost in a religion and we think, oh, you're supposed to live this way so you could go to heaven. All the rules and things that y'all have in these ancient texts are a matter of yourself. So it's a simple thing. You're supposed to live a certain way that so you be good, lest you suffer. So it's simple. You live in the city, you sinning against the life in yourself. A lot of y'all will say, how is me living in a city sinning against the life in myself? You get fresh food? Is your fruit and your vegetables good? Is your meat good? Is your water pure? Is your air pure? Is your spirit at peace? Or do you have to wake up like, man, I gotta go to work because I gotta pay the light bill? And I don't feel like it. I need to just get my mind together because I'm stressing, but I gotta pay this cable bill and shit, so I got this Wi-Fi so I can watch Solace. So this is my point. I'm sorry about that last part, but this is my point, you know. People are just, they lost into what they lost into. They don't take a time to themselves. So it's a very deep thing. It's a deep thing I want y'all to grasp. When I say it's the city, this living in the city is sinning against yourself, you just have to truly grasp. Your food is fucked up, your air, your water. All of this is a matter of the city. Then on top of that, that city was built over a forest, using the trees and things up the forest to make it. So when you live in a city, you sin against the life and yourself. You got men packed up in the cities. It's all this space. You got men packed up in these cities. When you got men packed up, now you got crime and violence and all type of crazy shit, disease that come with these things. So you sin against yourself and the life. And at this point, all we goddamn got is cities. So it's a deep thing people need to grasp, man. When I say get a small community and we live how we supposed to, I mean for the good of ourselves. Not for no goofy shit like, oh, you gonna go to heaven. Heaven and hell is a matter of any time. You can live in paradise or you can live in hell. Any moment of life, whether in life or death. This religion got y'all lost. Y'all like, oh, I can only get paradise when I die. You can live paradise now and when you die. It all depends on your conscience and where you are mentally. You got people completely lost. So it's a deep thing. I'm sorry. It's a deep thing. You got people completely lost. They think like, oh man, heaven is later. Heaven could be now. You live lost because you choose to. You choose not to band up with others. This is why I'm trying to pull people in. So it's a deep thing. I got to separate myself from this city and all this way of life that we live because it's truly stopping me from being as great as I can consciously. So it's a deep thing. Me teaching y'all, it sacrifices my accelerating. So I could be farther along than I am in the wisdom right now. But I know a lot of y'all like, hell nah, you smart as fuck. I could be twice as smart as I am now. But which I'm going to be. In about 2 months, I'll be twice as smart as I am right now. Guaranteed. But that's the thing.